It's so weird to see Gen Zs working also.
I know.
People born after the year 2000.
They're the ones who are actually more comfortable voicing their opinions, and what they value and what they want is something that they are really comfortable saying.
The type of people we keep getting, like, how are you finding these people?
Oh, that's a secret sauce. I can share that.
What I think most people don't realize is that culture is not something that just one person says is the culture. Culture is built on the core values. So when we are hiring and we talk about who we are, we actually talk about core values first, because core values are what turns into culture. You talk about this young generation coming into the workforce. It feels like purpose is more important to them than ever before with past generations.
Yep. Alrighty then, greetings and welcome to yet another Sounds of Solar podcast. I'm your host today, Chris Bruhn, and I'm joined by some esteemed EVS colleagues of mine. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I couldn't.
They already blanked. No, keep it. We've got Andy. All right. We've got Divya.
All right, I'm Andy Kim.
I'm Divya Divakaran.
And what do you guys? What would you say you do around here?
It's a good question. So my title's president. I like to tell people probably the three areas I focus on would be strategy, culture, and then high-level client relationships.
Okay, I like it.
And my title here is Director of HR, and I oversee HR operations. I would like to call myself a people enabler, and also I oversee the branding and office administration.
Awesome. Well, that's great to have you guys on the Sounds of Solar. You've probably been on at some point, a couple times,
yes.
couple, 2, 3. Have you been on?
No,
before?
this is the first time. Yeah.
How does it feel sitting in the real chair? We have a lot of viewers nowadays.
Yeah, it's
big
really
pressure.
cool. Yeah, yeah. There is a lot of pressure though, but it's cool. You guys are making me feel comfortable. So.
Perfect.
You're doing a good job.
So before we get into the weeds, now we had a good episode today. We're going to talk all about EVS culture and a lot of stuff in your domain with how we recruit talents and how we retain talent, and it's a whole thing because it's a really competitive marketplace out there, right? But before we get into that, it is summer coming up in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, the best time of the year, arguably. Do you guys have any plans for this summer? Anything interesting happening?
Yes, I'm actually going to India. So
Is summer a good time? I mean, it's always a good time to go visit home, right?
Right,
but
yeah.
Is it where you're from in India? Is it like unbearably hot in the summer?
No, it is nicer in summer
okay.
during this time. So April and May is when it's hot,
Yeah.
unbearably hot, and July is monsoon season. So it is different, and I get to enjoy that, and I'm excited for that, mainly because it's my dad's 75th birthday. So
well, happy birthday in advance.
yeah, thank you.
I just know about, and every time I talk to Sandeep about India, he's like, it's so hot, I can never go back.
Yeah.
I just like January minus 25 degrees. And
Yeah.
It's not where you're from, though.
No, not at all. So, I mean, where I'm from, we have multiple weathers, but not exactly like how we experience it here in Minnesota. So, yeah, I love it there, and I like hot weather.
Do you go back a couple times a year?
No, once a year.
Just once?
Yeah.
But like for 6
For a
weeks?
longer period, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Because that's, I mean, the flight is,
Yeah, by the time you are
Insane,
out of
so-
jet lag,
yeah.
it would take a week's time. So, yeah.
I've never had jet lag. What's that like?
Huh. Let's go to India once and you'll know.
All right, book me a ticket. I want
Yep.
to celebrate your dad's birthday
Sure,
too. So.
let's go together.
Andy, I
Yes.
imagine you're just going to be at the cabin every single day this summer, working hard.
Yep.
Hardly working.
Yeah, maybe both.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're from Minnesota, you know summer is about cabin time, and so I think one of the highlights for me is that I get to use it for personal use, but then
Yeah.
also for work.
Seems like it's more work than
Yeah, actually,
personal. It seems
I
like we
just finished the schedule, and I'd say we basically every weekend we've got something going on with one of our teams here or with clients.
yeah.
So it's definitely something.
Well, the
I'm looking
lines
forward
get
to.
blurred between work and personal. Probably for all of us, especially you. I
Yeah.
mean, like we're all just kind of friends.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's a good thing, right? That's part of our culture.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. You know, I know the times I've been there. It's insanely fun. So, anyone listening from the company, you should go to the cabin. I'm just telling you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we have such a good time, and the vibe is just amazing. And the new bunkhouse is like hey, if you need a place to sleep, you got a place to sleep at the bunkhouse. So
We do. We got a lot of room.
yeah. Well, like I said, we have a great show today. Just me hosting today, so I'm missing my co-host, but that's gonna be fine. I'll just call on Jordan a lot. Jordan, you kind of fill in a little bit? Okay. We're gonna talk all about, like I said, culture, and then recruitment and hiring and stuff at EVS. So Divya, I've been here. I was at the half-life of the company. I was here at 100 people. We're at over 200 now.
Yeah.
Firstly, I mean, when you started, would you imagine that like things have gone how they have? I mean, how would you say the hiring process has gone in general?
We are evolving every single day as we learn and talk to more people, employee experience and candidate experience. So we are constantly evolving and adapting to what the needs are of our candidates and employees. So I love that. I love that flexibility and adaptability in this organization. So when I joined, we were 72 and we are now 208 employees. So it's been an amazing journey, and it's nice to see so many of the employees who I recruited, including you. So it is nice to see them grow in this organization, and it's very satisfying.
Yeah. In your previous experience, were you able to see like rapid growth like this, or was this the first time?
No, I was part of an organization where I was a second employee. So it was pure startup organization. So starting as a 2-employee organization to close to over 200 employees in 1.5 years. That was a really rapid growth that I had encountered. And that was also a great experience, and that was in India.
What would you say about just the type of people that we're able to get in this industry? I mean, I think of it a lot as, this is a brand new industry. So we have a lot of fresh graduates, and then we have a lot of people who maybe were dissatisfied in their previous industry and are coming to ours with the passion for renewables, of course, and that's there, and that I think that helps us a lot. But like, they also see a new opportunity coming in. Like, what would you say, kind of characterizing that?
Yeah, so we have a mix of hires, right? So our strategy mainly is to provide opportunity for our employees to grow within the organization, which means that a lot of our new grads straight out of college, where they are able to learn and embrace our culture and the purpose of our organization, and they are able to be successful. There are a lot of examples in this organization that have grown up. And we also have employees who have worked in other industries or other organizations where they were not really happy with their culture or growth opportunities or whatever. And I see them thriving here, and they are very happy here, and they keep giving us feedback as to like how we could improve on certain things that didn't go well in their previous organization, so we don't do that mistake, and those inputs are very valuable.
Is that how we stay competitive? Is like essentially we're very receptive to like what doesn't work, and that's a lot of, like you were saying, like people coming from their old industry. I didn't like this. Let's do this better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it.
Yeah. So it is more of listening to our employees and not just listening, but taking action.
In our organization, like we were talking about, we have a lot of people who are fresh grads. But what keeps the top talent retained and excited about the future and wanting to stay here?
Top talent engagement is mainly on flexibility and psychological safety and career growth opportunities. It's no more about money or like better compensation.
Yeah.
So there are so many organizations that would say, oh, we offer great compensation and benefits, and that is what is driving. But people go into an organization for better compensation. However, what retains them is the opportunity that they have in the organization. They need to feel valued, they need to feel heard, and they need to see opportunity for them to grow in the organization. And it's also about strength-based opportunity and not fitting a square peg in a round hole.
So you mentioned something there about psychological safety, and I feel like that's something we've been hearing about more, maybe in the last 3 to 5 years. Can you just elaborate on that, what that means, and how that's changing the modern workplace?
Yeah, psychological safety basically is people feel comfortable speaking up disagreeing openly without the fear of repercussions. And it doesn't matter who they are talking to, and they should be willing to be authentic. And I think that is what Andy does. He leads with authenticity, and that has ripple effect in the
Yeah.
organization. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
that drives the culture.
You want to comment on that, Andy, at all?
Yeah, that's as you mentioned, like within the last 3 to 5 years, that has really become I think a top tier issue, something that more companies are finally being aware of. It's something that here I think happened a little bit more naturally because we're such a relationship-driven organization. So generally, when you have good relationships, that psychological safety exists, right? But a lot of companies just haven't put that effort into relationships. It's just more about just get the job done.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, important for our employees to really know that exists, and that without that, how do you get better? How do you get good feedback?
Yeah, if you can't be vulnerable and be, just be yourself, right, and get that positive feedback, it makes it a lot easier. I remember when I started, Steve Hansen, shout out to Steve, of course, we all know him from EVS Lore. I think the first week Steve said to me, he just said, be yourself, just be yourself. And I had never heard that, especially at my previous job. Like, I always felt like I needed to be what I was expected to be. And that's a little bit of encouragement, I think, opened up a lot of doors here. So
it's amazing how one small statement, right, has stuck with you for so many years.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I saw him maybe at Gateway, was he there, or Clean Power? I don't remember. And I mentioned that to him, and he said, he's like, yeah, it is that simple. What challenges do we face coming up? Like, what challenges have we faced in the past, and what do you see coming forward as we grow in this industry and try to recruit more people?
Yeah, the main challenge in this particular industry is it's a niche market, and there are only so many candidates and so many organizations fishing from the same pond, I would say. And us staying competitive, not just with fair compensation and benefits, but also creating a competitive advantage for ourselves, where the candidates see value in joining our organization outside of compensation, and for them to see EVS as a long-term career instead of a job is what is actually a bit of a challenge for us to educate, and that's where we are working on building our brand, and we walk the talk, and we are engaging more of encouraging more of our employees to be our voice as well, and bring in more of people who they enjoy working with, and it is more of a better organization. When you like who you're working with, then it is a better culture, and that drives the retention as well.
And we don't really necessarily need to tell our employees to be spokespeople.
Right. Yeah. It's
Spokespersons?
natural.
Yeah. And why is that? Like, how does that happen? Because it feels very organic to me. Like, it's, like I said, we don't tell people to be advertisements, but they just kind of do it naturally.
Yeah. I think they enjoy working here, and I think that is driven by the culture of the organization, and that's how culture is not something that I would say is something we can say is tangible. We can just say that, oh, this is what our culture is, but it is more of a day-to-day interaction, which I'm having with you, and I feel comfortable talking to you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So it's more about on a Monday morning, how do you feel about starting the day?
Oh, man.
So that's what drives.
That's a really good point,
organization.
because I feel like I've had numerous conversations with people who, in other organizations or other businesses or other careers, whatever, everyone has had the Sunday blues at some point in time. And I don't know if I've ever had that here. And
That's great.
Yeah, and neither of you paid me to say that.
No.
Either,
Yeah.
So that was all.
But Chris, that is something that we talk about. That's actually one of our goals. It's like, when you go to bed on Sunday, the goal is like, okay, I got to get up early on Monday, go to work. There might be that moment of, starting the week, but then you're like, oh, you know what? I like what I do. I like my coworkers. Like, this is good, right?
Yeah.
So you get over that real quick.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. That's what we strive for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even this week, I know that there's a few projects that have a lot happening, and I'm the key person on certain things that, these projects, and I know that I'm going to have to deal with them. But like, not only do I have the confidence of our organization, but also our clients. Shout out to the clients.
Yeah.
They are generally always really easy to work with too. So we're really blessed in this industry to just have that sort of relationship.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the pond thing. I mean, like, we have our clients; they need people too. We need people. So, it's how do you get enough people? It's difficult.
Yeah.
Right? So the makeup of EVS right now, I think it's pretty skewed towards. It's a pretty young company, right? But we do have a lot of experienced people all the same. I mean, can you comment about that sort of relationship with our demographics and of our workforce?
Yeah, I think we have a blend of Gen Zs and millennials the most.
It's so weird to see Gen Zs working also.
I know.
People born after the year 2000. What?
Yeah, but then
They're really good though.
they are really good, and they're the ones who are actually more comfortable voicing their opinions, and what they value and what they want is something that they are really comfortable saying, and I'm seeing that ripple effect with the millennials and Gen X and boomers as well. So it's kind of nice to see that generational influence happening at the same time. All of us are striving towards one single goal, and everybody wants a purpose, and EVS is able to naturally offer that purpose driven organization. So
we had 3 Gen Z employees on the show recently. So if you haven't seen that, go check that episode out and hear it straight from the source. I think I feel only optimistic about the young graduates coming in. I feel like a lot of them have just taken to what we do so quickly, which I think says a lot about our onboarding and just how we train people. I just remember when I started working, like, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And maybe they don't either, and maybe they hide it better. But they just seem so smart, and we just have such a... What would you say also about our track record? I feel like we only hire, like, A+ people, nearly 100% of the time. It's not always, but, like, the type of people we keep getting, like, how are you finding these people?
Oh, that's a secret sauce. I can share that.
Shashi, right? Shout out to Shashi.
Yeah,
Shashi. He found me.
Yeah, Shashi is amazing, and especially with the experienced candidates, Shashi knows how to bring them and get them to talk to us.
Dive into that a little bit more, because like I was an experienced person, less than now, but like. It is especially for engineers, once they're in the groove and they have their routine, it's very hard to break that.
Yeah.
And even if it's an obviously better opportunity, change is scary. So how do you go about that?
Yeah. So so are we now talking about experienced? We didn't talk about
yeah. Sorry. Oh, are we segueing too much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, you can be the host.
Okay.
We should leave this one in. I like this one. Segue back to the
new grads.
Yeah.
So the new grads, what we do is we do talk to we do have tie-ups with multiple universities, and they're all top-tier universities, and they provide really great curriculum that supports what we need in the organization. And the best way for us to get them is us showing them what is possible in this organization, what a career looks like, instead of them starting as a job, looking at it as a job. So educating them and showing them as to what does a growth in an organization look like, and showing some of our examples who have been in our EVS, started off as a staff engineer, and who are now senior directors and VPs. So I think all of that is what drives them. And also the main I notice from our new grads is inclusion. So they feel like we are inclusive.
We're like hyper inclusive.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing the difference between when I remember starting in that situation in the early 2010s till now is just like it's so much better.
Yeah. Those are the certain things
Yeah.
that I've heard from the new grads
Right.
that made them.
So moving back to my excited
Right.
segue,
Okay.
I get excited
All
about the
right.
show. Oh,
Okay.
okay. So yeah, getting older engineers or more experienced engineers or anyone out of their groove and being willing to try something new. I mean, what is the process there? How do you explain to that, like, no, this is a great opportunity. Please look into us and take it seriously.
Yeah, so it starts with the first step of headhunting, like reaching out to them, and majority of them would respond to us, and it's more of like we have our own template, and we actually don't go by template, but we tailor it. So if
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to you, I'll look into your profile and understand, okay, what does Chris do there, and have a conversation. The reaching out is not a blanket approach, but more of tailored approach for Chris, and knowing as to like, hey, Chris, you've been working in this organization for so and so. How is it going? Would you be willing to have a quick talk with me for 5 minutes? We have an opportunity that where you would be a great fit, and that's how we kind of like start, and also give a background about EVS if they don't know about EVS. So that's how we start, and then once they talk to us, then it is cakewalk for us.
Yeah. They know a good thing when they hear about it or see it or
Yeah.
meet people. So we recently implemented a service called Culture Index, and I think we all went through it. I thought it was like particularly very interesting. It's very simple, like quiz, essentially word association quiz that says a lot about your personality, and I thought mine was like very spot on, and I think a lot of people did mostly. Can you comment on the rollout of that, and then maybe how you've seen changes in our recruitment process with that? Because everyone does that now when they
Yeah.
apply, right? So
Yeah.
how has that influenced things moving forward?
Yeah, so how we are using that culture index is obviously we are not using that as a screening process. Irrespective of what
Right.
that result and pattern is, we are still interviewing everyone. However, we are tailoring questions based on the pattern that we are seeing, and understanding if they would be a good fit for this position, or will they be a better fit for a different position. So we obviously have a lot of positions open, so it is much more easier for us to understand the personality of a person, and also their strengths, and if that there is a mutual fit there. So having that conversation has also been very helpful.
I know we took the results of that in our team, in the structural team that I work on, and kind of like, we're like looking at everyone's results and like, oh, this is why this is why you two work together perfectly. This is why we worked. And so I thought it was really cool. So props for
Yeah.
getting that going.
Thank you.
Chris, the first time that I took that was years
failed
ago. I did fail, but I asked to do a retest.
Yeah, do a retest.
No,
yes.
but so we had a consultant come in. I did the test, and I had 4 people in the room with me, and she's like, "Andy, can I share your results with everyone?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And these are people that have known me for years, and so the consultant did not know me, but she's like, "Let me tell you about Andy," and so she starts talking about me and my tendencies, and I would say everybody in the room just laughed the whole time, because she was so spot on.
Yep.
And so when we saw that result, we thought, oh my gosh, what a great tool to kind of help us figure out who we are and how we work.
Yeah.
How we work with each other.
Yeah.
So
That was after you retested, though.
that was after I
Okay,
retested.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Got it right that time. It's cool.
Yeah, it's also helpful for us to know how to interact with somebody who I may be an extrovert and somebody else might be an introvert. So it is more helpful for us to know knowing your audience, basically, what to communicate, how much to communicate, and how less to communicate.
Yeah.
So staying to the point, or give them as much details as possible. So
The new gal that started on our team, Gayatri, she her profile was a chameleon, which I thought was like,
That's what I am.
oh yeah,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Yeah.
interesting. That's the coolest sounding one. for
It is.
sure.
Yeah.
It is cool.
So we talked a lot about hiring and recruitment and all the machinery that goes into that, but now we got to talk about culture, and that's probably one of the best things about EVS. Andy, can you describe just briefly, where did all the culture start at this organization?
Yeah. Good question. So what I think most people don't realize is that culture is not something that just one person says is the culture. Culture is built on the core values. So when we are hiring and we talk about who we are, we actually talk about core values first, because core values are what turns into culture.
Yeah.
Right. So, we talk about respect, integrity, humility. Right. Everybody here should know that. But the two that people maybe we don't talk about as often, it's more actually lived out, is just continuous improvement. And then Dennis, his number one thing is you got to have fun. And when you say that, people are like, okay, like fun, what does that mean? It's not necessarily like playing pool. Yes, that's fun. Going to the cabin, yes, that's fun. But really, when we talk about having fun in your job, it's like, number one, you enjoy your coworkers, right? So it's like you have real relationships with your coworkers. You have fun with them. They're there for you when you need them. You enjoy the job. Two, it's really you got to have great clients. We are a service organization. We serve our clients, and if you have a nasty client, it can make the job really unenjoyable very quick.
Yeah,
right?
poison the water real fast.
Yeah, and I would say prior to getting into renewables, we had a lot of clients that were just tough, right? Just viewed us as a commodity. But in this industry, the values are just, I don't want to say better, but the values are different.
Yeah.
And so our clients look at us as partners. They don't call us just another sub-consultant. And so we have clients that genuinely want to get to know us, want to make sure we're successful, and that so they're asking us for feedback all the time. And then the third piece of having fun is you got to feel like your job has a purpose. And so you talk about this young generation coming into the workforce. It feels like purpose is more important to them than ever before with past generations. And so, what we do is our tagline is changing the way the world produces power, right? And so we're doing that through renewables, through improving infrastructure. And so I think it's pretty apparent to everyone that works here, like what we do is important.
Yeah.
And we're changing the way the world produces power. That's a big deal.
I should have worn my shirt that says that today. Dang it.
It's important. It's a really important job. And so when people have like great coworkers, great clients, and a purpose that's like really impactful, how can you not have fun, right?
Yep.
And so ultimately, if you want to describe like what we're about, it's like those are the three things. And if you do that right, how can you not have fun doing your job?
And the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have, like just going back, because I know that is what has been so much different about here versus other places I've been, is that, you build those relationships so much easier when you're just like everything, even if you're on a tough call with someone and you know them well enough to just like make a side joke or just to lighten the mood a little bit, it makes everything so much easier. And we do that so well here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So moving forward, I mean, that's where we've been. How do we persist? How do we continue to preserve the culture going forward? So,
I think one of the toughest jobs that we have in leadership is really about how do we continue to grow and strengthen culture as the company grows rapidly, right? And so there's a lot of effort, a lot of time that's put into that. Especially with this new remote and hybrid world that we live in. Like, that is here to stay. It is something that we actually embraced even before COVID.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of head start.
Brett Newstead, the pioneer?
Brett came to us one day and said, hey, and this is before we had any remote employees, said, hey, I'd like to travel the country in my RV and keep working for you guys. And I think half the team was like, I don't even understand what that means. The other half was like, interesting. Yeah. You're one of our best electrical engineers. Like, we need to find a way to make this work. So Brett was our pilot program. Yep. A couple years before COVID, and I give a lot of credit to him and thanks to him because of what he had pushed us to do. When COVID hit, like, we all went home and we just kept working. Yeah. And I think that's been part of our secret sauce was just embracing that, and then also. We talk about culture. It's like it's embracing and then having this desire to be really good at remote work and hybrid work. Like, if you don't have that desire, or you don't understand that that needs to happen, how are you going to get better? And so it evolves all the time. So, like, we talk about culture. Culture for us is actually evolving all the time, but the core values will remain consistent. And I think that's our key, is we remain steady with core values, but just know that our culture has to evolve as the world evolves.
Right. And as we've gone from, you've been here for a little over 20 years, and you grew up in this business also and have seen a lot. And things started, the culture started as what it is, and it's grown from 50 to 100 to 150 to 200. Did you ever have any doubts at any period of time like that?
I would say the one moment that because we just didn't know it was COVID. When everybody went home, I thought to myself, how are we going to keep these conversations going when we're all working from home? I was concerned about culture. But when we started to come back, and as we started hiring more remote employees, one of my favorite stories was, I think Divya did a 30 or 60-day check-in with a new employee who was remote, and she shared that she had better relationships with her remote employees than she did when she was in the office back at home. And I thought, wow, we're doing something right when people say that. And that's what I love hearing, is when we do things well like that.
Yeah, that is how it is too. It is, but it just goes back to all those little things. Like we could make a whole list of them, why they all work, but you just kind of said it. But I think like it almost doesn't make sense in a way to think that you could just like randomly call someone up just to chat who you work with. And I did that the other day with George Hart, came back to EVS, and I'm like, hey, I should just call him right now and say like, what's up? And we had a great chat. And it was like, if you have, and especially Zoom makes it so easy to have those, it's like 95% of the way there, right?
Yeah.
And it's made such a huge difference. And also, not to just go on the tech side of things, Zoom is the default is camera on. And we are a camera on company. And that makes a huge difference. Sometimes you get on a client call and you just need a little bit of visual cue to really know what's going on. And I think we do such a good job of that.
With so many people remote or working from home, hybrid, it's like the technology matters, right? The etiquette of how you do a meeting matters.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
Like back-to-back meetings when no one gets a bathroom break is like, crazy.
Yeah. You just got to take the meeting in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, that happened in the early days, right? And, it didn't go
Wasn't
well.
there? I feel like there was a highly publicized moment early in COVID where like a federal judge, like they heard the toilet flush or something.
It was actually the Supreme Court.
Oh yeah.
It was an attorney participating in a Supreme Court hearing.
Yeah.
You could hear his toilet flushing.
Well,
So
there's probably been many Zoom mishaps in the last 5
I don't know.
years.
Have we had any? So I don't know if you remember Dennis.
He
called the whole company?
Called the whole company.
Oh, that was the best.
Do you remember? So I actually missed that, but I heard stories about it, and it was incredible.
It was-
It was really fun. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
that impromptu. All of a sudden, everybody joined, and then we were like, "What's going on?" And then we had a good chat. I mean, each of us were
100 people on a random Zoom
Just
call with Dennis on his phone. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know what I did.
So, but yeah, that's the culture, right? It's like we have fun, right? It's like no big deal. We take our job seriously, but we also recognize this is such a huge part of our lives. Like, we got to have fun doing it. We got to enjoy it.
Absolutely. So many thoughts on culture, and how has this shaped our innovation and shaped how we work? I mean, onto the technical side, because we all have fun. It all works, but like, how does that actually influence our work at the end of the day?
Yeah. So, great question. Because we have like something big in the works right now in terms of innovation. I mean, the buzzword is AI, right? So, but we're developing an automation that very soon will be public. It would not have happened if it weren't for what I would say is the culture of just openness, freedom to really express what you're thinking. So I would say it was just a grassroots group of people. Were like, hey, there's a faster way to do what we do in on the civil team. And then a few more people got together, And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting at a short presentation by a group of people about some idea to, can we invest some money in some coding? And we said, yeah, let's give it a shot. And now it is what I think will be a game changer in the industry. Like, I know a lot of people say that, right? But we think for us, like, it's a big deal. We've already shared it with 2 of our clients, and you could just tell, like, they were really interested. It's a way to do the job faster, but also probably the big one for our clients is it's a way to, frankly, to do things faster and cheaper, right? To optimize the site. So I'm trying to be a little vague just because we haven't revealed it yet. But yeah, again, if it weren't for the culture and actually this young generation, if you look at the people who developed it, it's a relatively young group of people.
Totally. Yep. I know them.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Cool. Well, Jordan, can we get a live show at the release of this? Can I break a champagne bottle onto a computer?
Oh,
wow. I love it. I love it.
Oh, it just crashed the whole program. Okay. Well, I think that's probably enough from me. I talk too much, I think so. But I'm so thankful you guys could join us today on the Sounds of Solar podcast. Any final words you would like to share with our thousands of viewers out there? That's not even an exaggeration anymore.
Yeah, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Let's say millions.
Millions.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Someday.
Yeah.
You gonna go first? You want me?
You go.
All right. It's something that I say to, I would say the youngest generation is when you're thinking about a career, obviously you got to do something you enjoy, but also think really hard about what industry you're going to be in. If you want, I would say, significant growth opportunities, an industry like renewables, solar, emerging markets, is such a big factor in your personal success. There was a meeting I was part of 10 years ago, early days of solar, where a 24-year-old was sitting in our conference room making $1 million decision about a project on the spot. And my mind was blown. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. But that young person had that authority to do that. It would have never happened in the old days.
No.
So my advice is really look at what industry you're going into. And obviously I'm very biased, but I think what we do in renewables and power is one of the best industries you could be in.
Yep, and we see it every day. That's what's happening. That's where the change is really happening. So if you were going to give any advice to a new grad or experienced engineer or someone coming into our industry, what would it be?
So my advice or guidance to anybody who's looking for a different opportunity is when you are switching job, look at it as a career where you would stay for a long term. Look for the purpose of that organization, look for the culture of that organization, and also the career growth opportunity in that organization, and also the flexibility that that organization provides for you. So that would actually make you be satisfied and engaged in that organization for a longer term than the short-term gain of compensation. Obviously, we are competitive in that area as well. But once you get the first or second paycheck, that excitement dies down, and it is the culture that keeps you staying with that organization for a longer period. So ask those questions, ask the right questions to your recruiter and the interviewers.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, that's going to do it for us on the Sounds of Solar podcast today. Thank you for watching and listening, and make sure to hit all those buttons that get us more views. Share with your friends, especially your solar industry friends, and we'll see you again next time.